Have you ever noticed your spirit calming around someone in a way you can't ignore? Like God is showing you this connection is different. Here are the signs that reveal God is placing something meaningful in your life. You begin to pay attention to the way your heart reacts, because something in you recognizes a peace you didn't create on your own. You notice that your spirit settles instead of becoming tense, and you can't brush off the feeling that God is highlighting this person for a reason. You feel yourself drawn in a way that doesn't feel dangerous or confusing, but gently reassuring, almost like your heart is remembering something your mind hasn't processed yet. There is a quiet awareness growing inside you that this may be more than timing or chance, and it reaches a part of you that thought it would never trust again. Your spirit becomes more alert, not in fear, but in recognition. A new type of clarity begins forming around your emotions, because His presence doesn't bring chaos into your life. You start noticing shifts you didn't expect, like the ease of your conversations and the comfort you feel even in silence. You feel safe enough to open up without rehearsing your words, and that safety tells you something spiritual is happening beneath the surface. Your heart responds differently, not with panic or uncertainty, but with a grounded peace that makes you stop and question what God is revealing. You realize this connection is touching places you thought were closed forever. You slowly become aware that God may be placing something meaningful in front of you. Your emotions feel respected, your spirit feels aligned, and your heart begins to breathe in ways you didn't know it needed. This awareness becomes the beginning of understanding that when God sends someone, your spirit notices before your mind does. 1. He brings peace to your spirit. You will keep Him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because He trusts in you. You begin to notice that your heart settles in ways you cannot explain when He is present. Your spirit becomes calmer because His intentions do not carry hidden heaviness. You feel a sense of safety that your past never offered you. Your thoughts stop running in circles the moment He steps into your space. You sense that God placed peace in Him so peace could rise in you. There is something different about the way He speaks because it does not stir worry inside you. His presence softens the tension that life has placed on your shoulders. You feel understood without needing to defend your emotions. Your heart feels seen without feeling exposed. This kind of peace reminds you that God knows exactly what your spirit needs. You begin to realize that emotional safety is something God uses to guide you. Your body relaxes even when your mind is unsure of where things are going. Your spirit recognizes that peace is not something a person can fake for long. You can tell when someone is sent to heal and not harm. You feel rescued from the weight you were never meant to carry alone. This peace becomes confirmation that God has stepped into the details of your life. It becomes a reminder that God does not bring confusion but clarity. You understand that when God sends someone, they align with the peace He promised. Your heart begins to open because peace reassures you without pressure. You realize that this connection feels different because it was made in peace, not pain. 2. His words and actions match. Let love be without hypocrisy. Abhor what is evil. Cling to what is good. You start noticing that He does not say things He has no intention of standing on. He shows up when He says He will, and that alone quiets your fear. His consistency makes you breathe easier because you don't have to question what He means. There is a stability in His presence that your heart embraces without hesitation. You feel relief because you no longer have to wonder if someone is lying to you. You begin trusting His voice because His behavior supports His promises. He does not disappear after emotionally pulling you in. He does not make excuses to cover a lack of effort. You feel respected because consistency reveals His character. You notice the difference between a man who talks and a man who shows. Your spirit becomes more aware of how rare honesty truly is. You feel gratitude for someone whose actions do not play with your emotions. You stop overthinking because His clarity protects your heart. You no longer feel the fear of being misled. Your spirit rests because reliability is a form of love. Truth begins to feel normal instead of surprising. Accountability becomes attractive because he practices it, not just speaks of it. You see that God aligns you with people who protect what he is building inside you. You recognize that reliability is spiritual, not just personal. You begin to understand why God sent him, because alignment shows itself in action. 3. You feel emotionally safe around him. In God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? You notice that your heart no longer braces for disappointment when he reaches out. Your emotions settle instead of spiraling into fear. You do not feel judged when you speak honestly. He makes room for your feelings instead of shutting them down. You feel safe enough to express what you kept buried. Your past no longer feels like something you must hide. You begin trusting that he sees your wounds and refuses to weaponize them. His responses do not trigger old pain. His calmness helps your heart breathe again. You realize emotional safety is one of God's greatest confirmations. You begin softening in areas you thought were permanently hardened. You feel less defensive because he does not create emotional threats. You experience openness without fear of rejection. Your thoughts stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios. You feel comforted in ways you forgot were possible. This safety becomes evidence that God is healing you through connection. You recognize that love is not supposed to feel like survival. You understand why your spirit did not settle with others. You see how God uses the right person to restore parts of you that were broken. You feel aligned with someone who nurtures your heart instead of shaking it. 4. He shows respect without being told. Honor all people. Love the brotherhood. Fear God. Honor the king. You begin to realize that you never have to ask him to treat you correctly. Respect flows naturally from him because it is part of who he is. He values your time, your feelings, and your boundaries. You do not feel belittled or ignored. His tone carries honor even in disagreement. You notice that he considers your heart before he reacts. He avoids words that would break your spirit. He speaks with care even when expressing his frustrations. You see maturity in how he handles conflict. Respect becomes the language he consistently speaks. You stop second-guessing if you deserve kindness. You feel worthy because he treats you like someone God values. You no longer feel the need to shrink to be accepted. He recognizes your strength without being intimidated by it. You sense that God is teaching you what real honor looks like. This respect becomes a foundation you never experienced before. It builds trust without forcing it. It brings confidence back to your voice. It shows you the difference between attention and genuine regard. You begin to appreciate how God uses honorable people to restore dignity. 5. He makes you feel prioritized. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem others better than himself. You start noticing that he does not treat you like an afterthought. You feel included in his time and his choices. He makes space for you without you begging for presence. His attention does not disappear when his mood changes. You realize that priority is a form of love. You begin to feel the difference between being wanted and being used. He checks on your needs without waiting for you to break. He makes an effort even when it is not convenient. He values your presence instead of taking it for granted. Your heart feels secure because you are no longer fighting for attention. You notice that you matter in his world. You feel important because he behaves like you are. Your emotions no longer feel like a burden. Your voice becomes something he listens for, not something he avoids. You sense that God is showing you how partnership feels. This priority brings clarity to your spirit. It reveals the difference between someone who keeps you waiting and someone who chooses you. It helps you release the people who treated you casually. It teaches you that God never sends someone who makes you feel invisible. You embrace the truth that love shows itself by where a person places you in their life. As you continue to pay attention to what God is revealing in your life, remember that he never sends the right person by accident. and He never leads your heart without purpose. You are stepping into a season where peace, clarity, and emotional safety are becoming stronger signs of God's hand at work in your relationships. Trust what you feel shifting inside you, because God knows exactly what your heart needs, and He never withholds what is meant to strengthen you. Let this message remind you that when God is involved, you will notice His fingerprints on everything connected to your growth. If the content inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Pure Inspirational.